I carried a litany of titles: employee, grad student, military veteran, husband, father, drug addict. Though the last title wasn't officially accepted by me or others at this point, it was certainly true. Chapter 6 of Step 4, A Journey Through Addiction, is where the masks started slipping away. This episode of The Recovery Couch is brought to you by Greg Swartz at RE/MAX Victory and Affiliates. Whether you're buying or selling your home, Greg brings heart, hustle, and honesty to every deal. Call Greg at 937-477-8975 today. I want to welcome you back to The Recovery Couch. I'm your host, Brandon Couch. And you always have a seat right here. Today, I'm taking you inside Chapter 6 of my book, Step 4, A Journey Through Addiction, where a routine health scare, a trip to the VA medical center, and a blood test became the first domino in a chain I could no longer control. Today, we'll talk candidly about opiates, about opiate withdrawal, and street pills. Please take care of yourself listening and pause anytime you need. This content can get a little heavy. We'll call this first segment Titles versus Truth, which was kind of the resume that I hid behind. I mentioned before I was an employee, I was a grad student, I was a military veteran, a husband, father, and those titles felt like armor. Each one of those titles said, you see, I'm fine. I'm productive, I'm dependable, but the truth about armor is when it gets heavy, there's a wound hiding. The title I refused was the one that explained everything. And that title was drug addict. I always kept score with the spreadsheet in my head. My grades in the program were good. My work was handled. My marriage was holding. And fatherhood, I was showing up. My meds were doctor prescribed, not necessarily street drugs at this point. And if the visible math looked balanced, well, I could ignore the distinct deficit that was in my soul. But the numbers were cooked. I was borrowing against tomorrow just to feel okay today. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. So let's go back to the VA visit. I got sick. I was prescribed Vicodin under the circumstance that I didn't take any other drugs. I didn't test positive. So I get sick, really sick, and I had a fatigue that just kind of sat on my chest. Headaches like a drum line, and I told myself it was stress, a bug, too much coffee, whatever. Eventually, I went to the VA medical center because even my denial had limitations. So they take blood tests, vitals, the predictable motions of a clinic day. Waiting rooms are loud even when they're quiet. And that's where you hear the truth you've been outrunning or you've been hiding from. And my truth said, you can't hustle your way out of this one. It came with a result that I didn't plan for. The doctor came back with a result I couldn't argue. Marijuana was in my system, which was enough to trigger a consequence I also couldn't negotiate. No more Vicodin. My prescription stopped. The door slammed shut in my face. And with that, so did the illusion that I was in control. My mind sprinted to justification. It's not that big a deal. I'm functioning. I need the meds for pain. But opiate withdrawal, for any of you who know, that shit doesn't negotiate. It shows up with a crowbar and pries its way in. Nothing you can do about it. My body kept score. If you've been there, you know. The chills, the sweats, the muscle aches, restless legs, skin crawling, stomach flipping. It's like a clock that stops moving. And beneath all of that, a panic that whispers, just one more pill, and we can make all this go away. Just one more hit, and it's gone. I told myself I needed a bridge, just enough until the withdrawal passed, just enough to function at work, just so my family doesn't worry about me. Every just was really just more. It was more. More hurt, more pain, more addiction, more trauma. The day I bought pills off the street wasn't very dramatic. It wasn't a movie soundtrack. It was actually quiet, practical, efficient. And that's what scared me later. The part of me that could treat criminal risk like a calendar errand with no fear, no stress. And now I had to manage the masks. And here's the thing about juggling titles with addiction. You don't juggle. You triage. Which role needs the minimum viable version of me right now? Work gets the email, class gets the paper, my spouse gets the smile, my kid gets the tuck in and a book read to him, and the addict gets the last word in all of it. And that's the part that hurts me today. That's the part that hurt my family then. My using became logistics. Who has, how much, what time, what cash, which route, which excuse do I give my spouse? I was mapping supply chains in my head while pretending to be fully present everywhere else. It's crazy because I prided myself on being a good multitasker. And addiction is a brutal teacher. It taught me that multitasking is just doing multiple things badly while lying to yourself and everyone else about it. One of the worst parts about it is that I could still perform. I would show up, I would speak, I would turn in, I would salute, I would smile, but I wasn't present. Presence requires honesty, and honesty threatens anyone living a double life. So I kept performing until the script fell apart. I'd become an actor. I remember when small misses started becoming big problems. I was late to a meeting here, short with someone at home there, forget a detail here, lose a story thread there, and watchful eyes start to notice. The mask doesn't shatter in one moment. It slips, and then it slips again, and eventually everyone stops pretending they didn't see the fact that I was falling apart. And beneath the hustle, what I was really afraid of wasn't withdrawal or getting caught. It was exposure, being exposed to the truth. If the truth came out, what would happen to all my titles? The masks I was juggling. Would I still be a good employee, a good student, a good husband, a good father, a good man? And the shame and the liar and the deceiver told me that the answer to those questions was no. I couldn't be those things. Shame told me I'd lose everything. So I clung to the pills like a raft that was made of concrete, sinking. This episode of The Recovery Couch is brought to you by JB Davis of South Dayton Toyota. If you're looking for integrity, outstanding service, and unbeatable deals on your next vehicle, JB is the guy to call. He's built his reputation on honesty and taking care of people the right way. Reach out to JB Davis today at 513-267-5225 and experience the difference. Contrary to popular belief, not all rock bottoms are loud. Some rock bottoms come with sirens. Mine came with a mirror. Me, hollow-eyed, counting pills like beads on a rosary, praying to a God named relief, instant gratification. I knew that the math no longer worked. The money was running out. The risks were greater. The lies were greater. The withdrawal was brutal, and it was a debt that I could no longer service. In step 4, a journey through addiction, I write that there was a night I didn't ask for strength. Instead, I asked for willingness. I said, God, I don't even know how to stop, but I'm willing to stop and I want to stop. And that wasn't a victory lap. It was me waving a white flag. Surrender. But white flags are how battles end. And I wasn't done with this battle. Titles are good servants and terrible saviors. If our identity rests only on what we do, our job title, our girlfriend, then it will collapse when we can no longer do it. Liberation starts when we admit, I am more than this job. I'm more than this college degree. I'm more than this uniform. I'm more than this marriage. I'm more than this role. And I'm more than my addiction. Because those are the truths. Losing the prescription felt like punishment to me. But looking back, it was God's mercy. He was trying to do for me what I couldn't do for myself. Losing that prescription interrupted a death spiral I was calling management. Sometimes the door that slams shut is the only thing that keeps you from walking off a cliff. And believe me when I tell you, I was 1 foot off. My next step, I was overboard. And our bodies are going to demand the old solution. Plan for that. Please tell on yourself early, get medical guidance, call someone who knows the terrain so they can help you navigate it. Because white-knuckling alone, it's a setup, bro. Our lies need darkness. They're like mushrooms. They grow in darkness. While the whole truth person, they expose themselves to the sunlight. And the sunlight feels good. It's where we heal. It's where things grow. So make an honesty plan. Today, tell one safe person everything. Tomorrow, book a medical consult or a detox plan. And then the following day, attend a meeting or a counseling session and put the next date on the calendar before you leave. You're not alone in this journey. None of us are. Create a 3-call list in your phone for cravings. Put in your favorite people. Call until someone answers. Write down your non-negotiables for the next week. Give yourself healthy sleep windows, healthy meals, enough water, one movement practice, one prayer meditation, one meeting. Keep it simple. Look for a boring life on purpose. And if you love someone who's in this spot, then get support for your betrayal trauma and caregiver burnout, because those things are real too. Set boundaries tied to behaviors, not accusations. Accusations look like, if you use, I will. If you're honest, I will. But you have permission to stop managing their chaos while quietly drowning. Your oxygen mask matters. I want to invite you to read my book, Step 4, Journey Through Addiction. This is real, it's raw, And if this part of my story resonates, chapter 6, specifically what we're talking about today, this book lays it out from the shift of the titles to the truth, because the truth is what sets you free from prescriptions to street pills, from control to consequence, and the beginning of my surrender. I wrote this book for the person who looks like they got it all together on the outside, but they're falling apart on the inside, just like I did. So I'd love to encourage you to grab a copy. And if you can, buy a second one for someone who needs hope. We are not too far gone. We are worthy. And signed copies are available directly through me. You can order them through my link I'll provide in the show notes. And you can buy the copy through all retailers, Amazon, Books A Million, wherever you get books. True Story Media believes that your story matters. At True Story Media, we help you share your story through podcasting, consulting, coaching, and more. Whether you're building a brand, launching a podcast, or finding your voice, we'll guide you every step of the way. Learn more at www.recoverycouch.com. Before we get off here, I just want to offer some encouragement and some prayer. For the one listening with a pharmacy in your pocket and a calendar full of responsibilities, God sees you. If you're juggling masks and titles, they don't disqualify you from telling the truth. Actually, they make it that much more courageous when you do tell the truth. My prayer is that you have the willingness to want help. And the next right phone call can be lined up for you today. Make that phone call. I want to thank you for listening. I'm your host, Brandon Couch. And thank you for sitting with me here on the Recovery Couch. Share this with one person who needs it. Let's spread this message of hope. Let's spread these messages of joy. And when we're ready, read the book. Today we talked about chapter 6, and let it give you language for what you're carrying and a map towards your surrender, whatever that may be. You can also check us out on the Recovery Couch Inner Circle on Patreon, and go check out the website, recoverycouch.com. We got a lot of good things going on, and I just want you to remember, you always have a seat right here on the Recovery Couch.